Hi everyone, this is Melinda with the blog eatingbuckets.com. Thank you so much for joining us in our old farmhouse kitchen. Today I am going to show you how to make my favorite new take on a miso soup. This one is full of completely awesome antioxidants and flavor. More than anything, it's kind of an umami overload. And my husband Brian, when he ate it, said it was the best soup that he has ever had. And so we felt like we really had to share that with you today. So to the base of a pan covered with a generous amount of olive oil, I am going to add the shallots, the yellow onion, the 6 cloves of garlic, the matchstick ginger equivalent to about 1/4 cup, and about a tablespoon of ground turmeric. Fresh turmeric, grated fresh turmeric. And I'm going to start cooking this over here. So I am working on just a medium-high heat here, making sure that the bits of turmeric and garlic in particular don't get stuck on the bottom of the pan. Olive oil is not a high heat cooking oil, and I'm not planning on cooking anything in this slurry on a high heat. This is largely just to break down the onions, take away some of the more irritating effects of the onions before we start adding water, and really coating everything with the oil and the flavor. That's the big part of why we use oil I use soy oil in every soup that I make. It helps deliver flavor and a roundness to flavor, and it adds a level of fat that really coats your tongue and makes it satisfying. I'm going to put my carrots, celery, burdock, and celeroc into the pot now. And now I'm just simply coating it with the flavor of the oil. This is a chicken stock that we're using today. I am going to turn it up to medium-high, cover it, and let it simmer. So while the veggies are simmering happily on the stove, I'm going to address the next part of this dish, which is the salmon. I found some wild Alaskan sockeye salmon on a great special at our local market. And to this, I'm going to use toasted sesame oil. I happen to really enjoy the Eden brand. The flavor is really, really strong when it comes to the sesame oil, so it goes a long way. And I'm just gonna pour that on here. And I'm gonna dress it with gamasio, which is a Japanese condiment. It's toasted sesame seeds and sea salt that have been blended together. I'll get the recipe for that on the blog. I love Kerrygold butter in particular because it is grass-fed and it just has wonderful flavor. There are a lot of other wonderful grass-fed butters out there that I would happily use. This happens to be our staple. And for me, I'm laughing at how much butter I'm placing on here. But you have to remember that this butter is not just gonna overwhelm your body with fat. A lot of it is gonna drain into the pan, and the flavor is gonna remain in the salmon. So don't be so scared of butter and fat. It gives the flavor that your body craves when you are eating food. And when you kind of take all of that out, when you remove fat from your diet, your body is left wondering what's missing. So just go with it and enjoy it. So I have this big, deep cast iron pan heating on high, and I'm going to turn it down a little bit now that it's fully heated up, and I'm adding a high heat oil. You can use avocado oil, grapeseed oil, sunflower oil. My favorite to use is an avocado oil. I really like the flavor of it. It's incredibly mild, and it doesn't deliver a bitter flavor, which some of the other oils do. I also really like sunflower oil. Grapeseed oil was a staple for a long time until I started realizing that for some things it does give a little remnant of a bitter taste. I'm going to turn this to, on my stove at level 5, I'm going to turn it to just a straight medium. I also need to have soft boiled eggs. So I'm gonna have these soft boil, which is essentially 6 minutes from boil until I turn the heat off and put them in a cool water bath. I'm gonna check on our soup, which is nearly done. So I've turned it down to low, and I'm gonna work on the final toppings for the soup. I'm gonna use 3 main ingredients for the topping. Radishes, which I'm going to cut very, very thinly. You could use a peeler if you want it, or a mandolin if you wanted to get them extremely thin. I'm just gonna use my knife and cut them as thin as I possibly can. Fresh green onion or scallion adds a real bright flavor that we want to make sure that we utilize. You want to cut the green onions as thinly as possible to thoroughly distribute the flavor. The final fresh herb is cilantro, which, by the way, is kept best in fresh water. So you don't want to use too many cilantro stems, but tons of the leafy parts. Some of the stems are fine, you just don't want to have a heavy amount of those. And so now we have our piles of toppings. I'm actually going to turn the salmon over now and cook the top of it to get as much of the sesame oil and butter and sesame salt flavor as possible. And this probably just has about 4 minutes left to go before we're ready to eat. The eggs are done. I am going to pull them off the heat, drain them, and cool them in a bath of cold water. So the soup is done. The soup broth and veggies are done. And I am going to add some organic mellow miso. This is the white miso from West Gray Natural. I am not sponsoring this at all. I'm just telling you about my favorite miso to use. It's very mild. It has a little bit of a sweetness to it. And it's also not genetically modified and really, really high in naturally occurring probiotics because it's a fermented food. What you don't want to do is boil your miso because that kills the probiotics. I'm going to take a nice big scoop of it, and I'm going to take hot broth from my soup, just dilute it slowly with the heat of the broth and the press of the pork. Once the miso is fully dissolved, I will add it back into the soup pot. If it's too salty, you add more broth, unsalted broth or water. And if it needs more, you just simply keep following the diluting process of your miso until you arrive at your favorite flavor. Fill your broth bowl about 1 inch full of broth. Add your fillet of salmon. Cut a soft-boiled egg in half. You'll add red pepper flakes, nori seaweed flakes, radishes, green onions, and cilantro finally. Also, a good drizzle of your toasted sesame oil. And finally, if your family loves sriracha as much as my family does, you'll add a douse of that, followed by the piece de resistance of cracked black pepper. And so this beautiful soup, which really is great for any season, but in particular during the cold season when you're trying to hit yourself up with as many antioxidants and disease-fighting properties in a yummy, flavorful bowl of goodness as you possibly can, should be served piping hot. The soft boiled eggs are still hot. The salmon is crispy on the outside and tender on the inside. The miso soup has all of the probiotic properties of the miso, And the bright hit of the radish, cilantro, and green onion combined with the red pepper flakes and the sriracha is a taste experience that I really hope you will enjoy as much as my family does. So from our farmhouse kitchen to yours, thank you so much for joining us, and I hope you enjoy this offering today.